That'd be a whole long
So
story
all
right
three
there.
of you guys are comics on top of being teachers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Mhm.
It's question. First off, who are you? So that way we don't just
Yeah,
go
who is
into
this
it.
guy?
Is this the real?
this
Is this the
guy.
real podcast?
This is
Yeah,
the
this is the real
Oh,
this
podcast.
is
such a
wrong.
casual
Yeah.
start.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's and it's not like we're not gonna make it formal. I want to introduce you.
Okay.
So that way.
Well, my name's James Graves, and I'm a teacher.
James Graves.
Yeah, and I'm a teacher, and I also do stand-up comedy.
Dude, that is a badass last name for a teacher. Like, dude, if somebody said I'm gonna call Mr. Graves on you, like, I'd be like, is he gonna bury
It
us?
has a tone.
You
It
walk
has a
in with like
tone.
a shovel, but also like a marker.
Just
in one
and
hand.
Black Sabbath music plays in the background,
Dun,
or
dun,
like,
dun.
or whom the
Yeah.
bell tolls.
But there must be something how I say it, because a lot of people will think I'm saying Mr. Gray or Grays.
Graves.
Uh-huh.
And so I have a corny joke that all my kids know. I'm like, hey, my last name's Graves, like a graveyard, but not so scary. And even my own children always just roll their eyes like, I was like, but then they know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
You can break
Yeah,
it
I mean,
down
you
so
have to
it's
explain it
way clear for kids.
in some way. Were you a comic before you were a teacher, or was it you become teacher first?
I started like way back like in college with like stand up and groundlings and sketch and stuff.
Cool.
And I just kind of like dabbled in
Uh-huh.
stand up a little bit toward the end, and then I like stepped away from all that. And I actually graduated college like right when there was the big teacher layoff, like in 2004.
Mm.
So I had to like I
Yeah.
started at a private school, but then I realized I couldn't continue. So because of that, I did other things. And then after I got like things in my personal life and divorce and stuff, like I went back to teaching later. So I've been a teacher now for like 12 years.
You had that
Nice,
post-divorce glow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta rethink things.
That divorce glow up. You know what I mean? It's like green
Mhm.
juice. You're like, nah, divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah. I needed that 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. But it is what I
Yeah.
originally wanted to be.
Was a teacher.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so cool because Chris and I have talked about this, and we've all kind of talked
Mhm.
about this, like how teaching came secondary to
Well,
all of us. Like I became
yeah.
a teacher because I was tired of like roaches crawling across my face. I was like, I need money. You know what I mean?
I gotta
Yeah.
pay my bills.
See, I got
Yeah.
into teaching 3 years, and when I was 3 years into doing stand up, so it's
Oh,
pretty
okay.
much I've been teaching the whole time. But I was a sub.
You were a sub though,
Yeah.
so little.
But the flexibility is amazing,
Oh,
and
uh-huh.
the hours you just can't beat it.
You can't beat it. Especially, it's hard at first, when you're just like an intern or those first years, like you're not making a lot. But once you
That's
get
what
higher
I
on the
know.
scale, you can't beat the flexibility because every job has its own problems. So I think I
Mhm.
have an advantage that I did
100%.
other careers first.
Yeah.
Did you guys do other careers first?
Dude, I've had like
Olive Garden.
65
Yeah.
jobs probably.
So because you can always tell a teacher that went right through. There's nothing wrong with this, but went right through school, immediately became a teacher. Like their view on certain aspects of school totally different
are they
than
like
someone that's done other things. You're like, oh man, it's not a big deal.
Are they
Yeah,
the people who
absolutely.
are
I
like,
get
we
that.
need to implement the SEL framework because the 1, 2, 3 steps of the process? They like believe all the BS. Are they the people? They take notes during professional development.
I mean, you can have that too. I think it's more of like what they think is appropriate or what they get like irked about, like just in the workplace when they don't realize this is just workplace politics anywhere. A little
Uh-huh.
bit, you know what I
Mm.
mean? Or, when you've had other jobs where like my dad's like in construction. So I was like, dude, I'd rather deal with these problems
Yeah.
than like digging up a sump like
In
at a
the hot
gas station
sun.
in
Yeah.
Compton
Yeah.
at 5 a.m. So it's like, I'll deal with these problems.
So
Construction's
Can you-
hard
Yeah.
work.
yeah.
A
So
lot.
give me an example then of when you talk about office politics or something, that you've actually seen, something that has irked a younger teacher where you go, hey, this is just normal part of the course type thing.
The principal peeing in your coffee. Be like, it's just office.
Well, the peeing coffee is
That's just
notorious.
Mr. Johnson. No pun intended.
Yeah.
I think sometimes like I think it's like just choosing your battles, you know what I mean? Kind of like like how it is even in the classroom. It's the same thing with other adults. Like you can see younger teachers sometimes like they really want to prove a point and like they really want to like, this isn't right, this is how it is. I'm like, you're gonna have more, it's gonna be an uphill battle for you the whole way. So you need to like choose what you want to like pursue or not. We're in a workplace, a regular workplace, you don't even have the balls to do that sometimes, you know, because you're like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm lucky to be here at Google.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, your coworkers are children. You know,
Yeah.
mostly like you see kind of like the. Did you ever watch Home Improvement?
Dude, my whole family like religiously grew up watching Home Improvement.
Of course, yeah. Like so, remember the guy? Do you remember Home Improvement?
Yeah, I didn't
Remember the
watch
guy
it,
that's
but-
always there was always a guy
yeah.
that was hanging out like over the
Wilson.
fence.
Yeah,
Wilson.
Wilson.
Wilson. I feel like that's kind of the way adults are at a school. That you got a bunch of Wilsons that kind of like pop their head in and everything. It's like these little cameo sitcom characters that can also get you fired from your job.
Yeah.
but
Why
it's
is that weird
mostly-
man poking his head and looking
Yeah.
at us?
Who's that weird guy with his nose over the fence that told me I'm fired, but I can't see his mouth? No,
Yeah.
but like it's mostly kids that you're dealing with. You know, those are your coworkers usually. Is like John, you know, instead of, you know, it's kind of interesting though.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely interesting.
So how long did it take you then to, even though you said that you came from a different world, right?
Mhm.
And into it, but how long until like you started to let go of that stress?
Mm.
Because for someone like Matt, he really needs to hear this right now,
Oh,
coming
really?
from a veteran, because we joke that Matt sounds like a burned out 20-year vet and he
It's my
hadn't
first
even,
year.
and it's his
Oh.
first year.
Or
So
was.
Yeah,
we're
he's
trying,
going through
we're
it.
trying to help him out.
You're taking up every battle.
Well, dude, so not to deviate too much from Chris's point, it's just the last year had almost 40 kids an hour, did a play with 37 seventh graders, and was going to college full time,
Mm-hmm.
still doing stand up and stuff. And I'm just like,
yeah.
it kind of feels like I got myself into law school, but I'm not making the money of a lawyer.
Yeah, it's extra
know.
hard. So you're finishing like your credential and stuff.
Yeah,
now,
and I
like-
still have one more year.
So that's
it's a
like
year and a
double
half.
and triple if you're doing other passions like comedy and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, well, one, being a new teacher, you have to be careful because if that's the degree you work, then that's what everyone expects all the time. So if like you're like, make sure you pace yourself, like your expectations, especially like dramatic performances and stuff, because like I have other friends that are drama teachers at different schools, and sometimes like one teacher like, oh, they only do big 2 performances, oh, but they're so gung-ho at this school, he does 6 performances, and it's like, dude,
Oh yeah, I ain't
now
doing
they're
that.
gonna expect 6 performances from
Every
you,
year.
like, every year.
Yeah.
So you should
Uh-huh.
tell, and I've had that same thing, because like whenever I go to a new school or even a new job, you know how like you want to like give 150% because you want everyone to know like, hey, I'm good.
I do this.
I
Yeah.
do this. I'm
Yeah.
confident. Leave me alone. And then like once everyone trusts you, you can kind of like settle into like your norm. But the normal, to get to Chris's point, is like I find a lot of like there's just so many like nuances and things. You have to like kind of know the system that you're working in, of like, this is how kids are. This is what principals can and can't do. This is what parents expect. And so it's like you have to like weigh your options. Like you want a happy medium of like that you feel respected, but you're not burning yourself out constantly fighting wars you're never gonna win. So like, but
Yeah.
every school's different. So like I could try to tell you, but I don't work at your school. So you have to like kind
Experience
of
it
like,
for yourself.
yeah, you got to
Go through
experience it
it.
for yourself, or like find other teachers that you think they have it figured out at your school, and like, you know, work the system from there. Like, how's this admin? How's this school? How are these parents? And then kind of like adjust your temperament there.
Yeah, I've gotten pretty tight with the electives teachers. Like we would go out to eat and stuff like that, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
they've kind of given me the lowdown. I think we have pretty good admin at our school.
Mm-hmm.
It's just at the end of the day, it's middle school, and
Yeah.
middle school is stressful. You said you're teaching mostly 6th grade, right?
I've taught 6th grade for like
And what are
12
you teaching
years.
again? I don't know if you mentioned that.
I teach multiple subjects. So I've been teaching 6th grade for the last 12 years, but I'm actually moving to 4th grade next year.
Oh, okay.
Just to give myself a little
Yeah, way better.
Yeah,
Yes,
a little-
congratulations.
Just
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a little
It's an upgrade.
adjustment
Yeah.
of mentality. I know it's going to be like different challenges,
Mhm.
but I think I just need an adjustment.
Yeah.
Yeah, is your school sad to see you go?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's like it's weird. You mentioned that level of how you perform. You're rated by that for the rest of the time that you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody commented on one of our videos, and they go, "The thing that sucks about teaching is it's the only profession that if you try, it kind of screws you over." You know, and because they were saying that because
Yeah.
like you more is expected of you, but you don't. It doesn't equate into more pay.
Yeah.
You know,
But I
So-
get from his personality, you don't really get stressed out. You know how to just calm yourself down in situations.
I mean, some of it comes from, I think, just my own personal life of maturing in certain things, like being a dad, being like having good relationships with like my my ex-wife, and like being a good co-parent. Like you learn a lot, like what to let go and what's important. Like I don't know if any of you guys have kids?
No, dude. We're
Oh,
LA.
man.
We're LA.
Not yet.
LA man, baby.
Chasing your dreams and
LA
stuff.
man.
Yeah. But that makes sense though.
What? Sorry, I was just gonna say what I was gonna add to his thing. What calmed you down more? Was it being a parent or being a teacher?
Okay, so I read a book that my brothers suggested to me, and it changed my life, how I look at everything.
Oh wow.
The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Oh yeah, by Mark Manson.
Mark
Yeah.
Manson.
I wanted to read that book.
Have
Yeah.
you, you haven't read that?
Never.
recommend
I
it
want
to
to.
everyone.
I'll
I
loan it
recommend
to
it to teachers. I recommend it to like single parents. Like it's like changed my life, how I look at everything, because it's all about having perspective and like choosing your battles, and then like how you're judging other people and what's important in certain things, you know.
I need to reread it.
Oh man, it's so good. And or have you, if you already read it, listen. I listened to the audiobook. I've read it, but I've listened to the audiobook too, and sometimes you like take away different things. But that really like that changed how I treated like certain family members. It changed how I treated like my co-parenting situations, and it definitely affected me as a teacher. 100%.
That's good.
Wow,
That's
it's kind of
good.
crazy when one book does that to somebody, to where it like knocks you into a different trajectory.
Yeah.
You know, did you read it like more than one time? Because a lot of people say that
Yes.
they read something more than once to be able to like retain it.
Yeah.
Sucks that you can't give that to your sixth graders. You're like, all right, we're
Yeah,
gonna do like
I
a book
know.
report.
Like, Mr.
This
Gray.
has the F word on it.
Yeah. But like I recommend to like adults. It's for, I mean, not that there's anything bad with it. It's like the title is to get your attention.
Yeah.
100%.
You know what I mean? But there's
It's a
nothing
marketing tactic.
Yeah, it has nothing inappropriate inside about it. It's a mix of like Buddhist stuff, or even I think every major religion like probably has like some elements
Pieces.
of it about
Yeah.
like just having perspective and like how much energy you're giving that, and then like my perception of other people. You know, like what is it more important that I prove someone right, or is it more important that I improve the situation? You know,
Absolutely.
and that's like always a fundamental thing as a teacher. You know what I mean? Because like teachers, I'm sure you meet teachers all the time, are like, oh, I really hate that they think that parent or that admin, I want to get in their face and prove them wrong and show them that I'm right. But it's like, is that the most important thing, or what's the end goal, which everyone could be more successful? Because that's usually not what happened before that was important to you. You know what I mean?
What? Yeah.
And also too, you know, to go back before we had started the podcast, it's that kind of reminds me of, if you can focus on improving a situation, you're going to have less of those fighting imaginary arguments and trying to win and prove your point outside, because we've all done that. Think of the hours that you've wasted with nobody around, proving your point,
Telling someone off.
or
Yeah.
laying out your argument, you know, to somebody, and you're like, none of this matters.
None of it
Absolutely.
matters.
None of it. And,
Yeah.
But I like that, man. I think I'm going to have to remember that too. How can I improve the situation? It's not about me being right.
Yeah, like
It's a massive letting go of your ego.
it's a massive thing, and I saw it a lot with my dad. Owns his own business. He's retired now, but and I would work for him like growing up at different times of my life. And so anyway, so he's a contractor. He would like test underground tanks to make sure they're in compliance with like California like air laws and stuff. Anyway, so he would say like, James, you know how many people try not to pay me after I do the job, and they'll talk mean to me, they'll offer to bribe me, or he goes, you think I care about that? I just want them to write that check. So whatever I have to do to get this situation better, that they're going to write that check. That's all that matters. I don't, and like that, it was just like, dang, my dad's smart. Like that's so smart.
Because you're just cutting through all the BS.
Yeah.
None of it matters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You just focus on the objective.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
very meditative. Did
Mhm.
you guys ever read the book The War of Art? Not The Art of War by Leo Sun Tzu, but The War of Art. It's like a play on
That's
words
one
in
of
that
the
book.
greatest books ever
Dude,
written.
it's
Yeah.
such
The
a
one he's
small-
talking about, or the one he
I-
almost
the
talked
Art of
about?
War?
The War of Art.
The War
War
of
by
of Art. I
Stephen
haven't-
Pressfield.
Okay, no, I
Okay.
haven't.
So
read that
it's a
one.
real thin book, but like basically what he talks about in it is he talks about how it took him so long. He started selling his screenplays. He was this guy, but he's like, the reason why it took me so long, he talks about it in the book, is he had put himself into so many phony channels
Mhm.
of like daydreaming and grandiose fantasies and everything. And he has like this whole part of the book. It's like part 3 or something like that about turning professional.
Mhm.
And he's
Mhm.
like, when you're a professional artist, you almost approach it like a blue collar thing, like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what your dad
Yeah.
dad was saying. Like you don't worry about, was it good? Do people like it? Okay, where's my paycheck?
Yeah.
And then when you start thinking of it like that, like you do it for the paycheck, he goes, it kind of makes you a little colder in the sense of like all these other things, they don't really matter. Cause like as
Mhm.
creatives, we set booby traps for ourselves, like Kevin
Mhm.
McAllister style. We'll
Yeah.
put like a paint can right here. This is where I'm going to fall into the floor.
Mhm.
This is where like the bathtub's going to fall through the ceiling. We
Yeah.
do that to ourselves. And so I think that, to your point, I get that. And I also think that teaching, it's a really great career for artists because it forces you, it's something that's creative, but it forces you to have like those structured parameters.
Mhm.
And if
Yeah.
you're too creative of a person, it's that balance between being so creative, but then also ending up on like Skid Row pushing a shopping cart with like a bird nesting
Yeah.
in your hair.
I think it's having expectations. If you don't have
Yeah.
any expectations, you don't really care. You see what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? But like you were saying, if you think, okay, it has to be this way or it got to go like this, now you're doubting yourself at the beginning. But if you go in with an open heart, open mind, like, okay, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Mhm.
Let me just stay in the
Yeah.
moment and just see what it is. Then you're more prepared. Now you're going with the flow. You see what I'm saying? Then you
Mhm.
don't get irritated as much because you're in it. You're
You're
in it.
in the water.
And
Yeah,
your
you're in the water.
expectations
Yeah.
are gone, so you're not
Yeah.
battling against.
Yes.
This isn't the way it should be.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
I can see though
Yeah.
that might be harder for. I mean, I also, on top of teaching 6th grade, like I do a lot of like the show stuff at my school, like the winter presentation, like Winter Wonderland or the choir stuff. So I only bring that is that I think it's harder sometimes. Performance, like it's all out there for people to see. Where teachers that we're just teaching, we're all glad that like, as long as everyone grows and makes progress, we're happy, right? In classroom stuff. I mean, of course, we'd all like them to make better grades, but kind of like there's been a shift where it's like, as long as everyone's making progress, then we feel good. You know what I mean? Like I
Absolutely.
Ready shows the progress. Like I remember you mentioned you
Oh
have that. at your
gosh, I
school.
ready.
Where like
I already forgot about that
performance
this summer.
stuff is a little bit like, yeah, they grew, but this place still sucks. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, so I think it's a little bit might be harder in your situation.
Well, it's like
to feel that.
how do you take those two things between like, okay, you do the work, like you're saying, the expectations, you do the work, you
Mhm.
prepare for a stand-up set, you prepare for a role that you're acting if you're in a movie or whatever. And then once you get there, you've done the work, and then now you let go and you're in the moment. It's harder to do that sometimes as a teacher because you're responsible for other kids.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to be like meditative, like, you know what? I'm just going to practice non-attachment while John is crawling through the like ceiling
Yeah.
ducts and like strangling Kenny.
It'll be like
with
being a
jump rope.
coach too. It's like there's
Yeah.
this expectation of like, well, is the team gonna win it all? I was like, well, they all grew, they're all better, but we still lose every week.
Yeah.
You know what I
It makes
mean?
you wonder what the better coach is. Is it the varsity blues coach that's like breaking their backs over his knee like John Voight?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
is it the positive? You guys are the athletes, not me.
Yeah.
So
Well, you could. I
what do
mean, you could argue that's a fundamental difference. Like people tend to like have a little bit more thick skin when it comes to sports sometimes, where they'll allow a coach to push children or anyone harder,
Mhm.
honestly, than a teacher in a classroom. Like
Yeah, that's true.
if you're a karate coach, a football coach, you're allowed to hold the kids accountable.
Yes.
Every sports parent, they want you to.
Dude,
Or
yes.
you go to school and they're like,
Yes.
oh, no. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying,
Yeah.
I mean, even sometimes those same parents might have a different attitude about their coaches versus their teachers. Not all. There's a lot of great parents out there, but I'm just saying a cultural shift, like coaches.
that'd be such a good
That's so-
paradigm shift if
Yeah.
teachers could have the authority of a coach.
Yeah.
That'd
Because
be
it's like
amazing.
he's screaming
Yeah.
like you're
Isn't
gonna
it
fumble.
crazy that it's not like that though?
That's
Could
so
you-
It
crazy.
is because
That's
math
so
is more
hard.
important than
Yeah.
throwing a football.
You know, it's
most of the time.
I'm just
Facts.
imagining that you end up having. Do you guys remember Bobby Knight that coached the Indiana
Yep.
Hoosiers years
Yeah, I
ago?
remember him, yeah.
I remember the movie Hoosiers.
That has nothing to do with.
no, Bobby Knight, he was an asshole. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bobby Knight
Yeah.
strangled people, punched them, threw
Children?
them- dude, threw things
athletes.
across the room.
Yeah.
And I'm just imagining Bobby Knight in a classroom versus fourth grader.
Shut up.
Teaching
Yeah.
drama.
Get out of here, yeah.
He's like, no, that is not what Charlie Brown does, and he pushes a kid over.
or like Alec Baldwin and Glenn. Oh, you call this thing a sentence? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put those hot Cheetos down.
we should be able to at least like kind of do like the drill sergeant stuff because some of these kids do need that. They do need the drill sergeant instructor. Not all. For some, you could like completely.
Some kids can't take it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're just
It's
not
hard
mature.
because like they're wanting teachers to provide everything in the classroom. They want us to be the loving people and the tough people, but not be tough. You know,
yeah,
at
you
the
have to do
same time.
everything but breastfeed.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
But
So that's the hardest
Uh-huh.
thing. And so like because so many kids need like the love and support and the soft side, they just like, oh, well, then you just can't give them any consequences, which isn't true because every kid needs both. Like you need the mom to give you
Mm-hmm.
a Band-Aid and like give you a hug when like you fell down, but you need the dad to tell you like,
That's great. We just need a
Keep
mom and a dad in every classroom now.
or
Actually,
it's not
yeah,
even a gender
yeah.
thing. It's just they need
No,
need
but
both
what I
to-
mean is
you
that,
know,
that both of
well, I
those
wanna be
energies.
careful not to
Yeah.
insinuate that that's what I'm, you know, that it's that.
Wear
I mean, that's
dress
great,
on
but they
things.
need both the push and the pull. They need like the comfort and like
Yeah.
the accountability.
Right. Yeah. It's tough, man. I don't pretend to have it all figured out. I was subbing before this. I've been teaching.
Yeah,
for-
so-
I think that's
you-
really good though to be honest that you don't have it figured
For
out.
you though,
Yeah.
then how long did it take you till you felt like, oh wow, I really kind of got this? Like, you know, when you're on stage, guys, and you're like, oh yeah,
I know what I'm doing.
I kind of know what I'm doing
I'm
up
doing.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
How
Yes.
long for you? Do you remember like a moment? Or
Man, I
was-
hope I get there soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean, there's aspects. I mean, like you guys know, every year is different. It's like a new venture. It's like a new bull to ride, a new wave to surf. So it's like, how's this one going to settle and that sort of thing. But I think, I don't know, it was a handful of years before I felt like really confident every class.
But the first year was probably the toughest.
Yes, but then the just like stand-up comedy though, you can't show any fear though. That's
Mm-mm.
such a
Yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a first year mistake when they say, oh, this, if just to tell kids that it's your first year, giant mistake.
Yeah, I never showed any fear because I'm used
They got
to
rid
it.
of
Hey
it.
guys,
Yeah.
that's my first
Hey
year.
guys,
Let's
my
get 'em.
favorite color
Wow.
is
Let's get
pink,
'em.
and I love the show Scrubs. And
That's
they're
what-
like.
But
yeah.
speaking of that, do you think that your reputation goes with you? You see what I'm saying? Because other kids hear about you year before.
Yes.
So they're like, your
They do.
repetition stands for itself. Like,
Honestly,
Uh-huh.
that's probably
Yeah.
been one of the things I was the most hesitant to change camp, because not only am I changing grades, I'm changing campuses
oh, okay.
to change grades,
Yeah.
which makes me sad. I would have rather stayed at the same campus.
Yeah.
But I have a reputation
Mm.
there, and it's one of my favorite things. Like when younger kids like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Graves,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like even when I'm having a rough time, like those little kids like don't even know. It's like sometimes I was having like the worst day,
Mhm.
and like my class is like
Yes.
not like being chill or whatever, however you want to call it. And then like a little third grader would come like give me a high five and say hi, Mr. Graves. It would make me feel so
It feels
good.
so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Just that they know
Yeah.
my name
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
they're excited to see me and stuff. And so
Absolutely.
I was like, oh yeah, I do love kids.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
why I became a teacher.
Yeah, dude, there's those
Uh,
times where they do something so cute. Like there's a kid one time I forgot to bring a fork and I couldn't leave the classroom because for whatever reason, I go, hey buddy, I go, if you go get me a fork, I'll give you a Jolly Rancher. And so he went to the thing and he's like, and like
Dude.
so fast and ran back. And the kid was so cute.
Yeah.
Like he's probably like that tall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I realized I was like, I didn't have any Jolly Ranchers. I was like,
Dude,
I go,
dude.
I'm so sorry. And so what I did though, I went to 7-Eleven on my lunch break, and all they had was like a $6 bag of Jolly Ranchers. I was like, damn it. And so I bought them, and then I was like, here you go, buddy, you can have the full bag. And he was like, ah, like he got a Nintendo 64 on
Yeah, yeah,
Christmas. He was like,
That
oh.
was like the best day. That you just made like a core memory for him, probably
Yes.
forever.
Like if
Yes.
you do a nice thing, you get
Yeah.
sugar.
I gave all these kids, like probably like 30 kids, hot Cheetos, and I owned them the whole year just because I gave them all hot Cheetos.
Hot Cheetos, yeah.
I
How
won
do you
every
bribe
time.
kids?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's-
Do you still use food after year 12?
Yeah, but you know, my school district's going to like a no food
Yes. Yeah.
That's true.
A
Is
lot of schools
that
are.
you guys hearing
Yeah,
that too? Like
yep.
you can't give out food anymore, which I'm like, it
It
was the
sucks.
last
School
line
district,
of defense.
all of our schools, because I work
Yeah.
for the same one you do.
Well, I probably work for a different district now, but like I think it's a whole California thing happening.
It is. Yeah.
It is.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
It's happening.
So if I
And
give
so,
them
like-
a Jolly Rancher, I could get fired.
You are not to give kids any food just because there's so many like consequences and allergies and other things that can happen.
Oh my
And
gosh,
so I
that'd
do
be a nightmare.
understand, but then as the teacher, I'm like, dude, it's the last thing you could.
Take from us.
So we got to come
Give-
up with a nice new reward.
Well,
somehow.
I'm hoping. Yes, I'm hoping. I was talking to like different admin. I was like, can like the school like buy things that are like school approved? Like you throw a pizza party for them like at the end of the semester. Can you buy everyone like popsicles one time that, or even give us suckers that we give out? Like maybe that would make it better. Like I'm not buying it, but if the school buys
school
it,
does it,
and like
yeah.
gives it out, like, hey,
Yeah,
these
yeah.
are your
Mhm.
30 suckers for this month. You distribute them as you wish. Like maybe that's a loophole because now it's like school bought and approved and like extra safe rather than
Yeah.
individuals bringing. So I don't know if maybe that might be a
But
compromise.
also too, what worked for me, I gave them the hot Cheetos, but I told them they couldn't eat it until they get around their parents.
Mhm,
You see what I'm
mhm.
saying?
That's
so they
good.
could eat it at school.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
go on
yeah.
your parents. Eat
Oh,
it. So
I
that
mean,
worked. Yeah.
Do you think they really waited though, or did you see like in the parking lot they're like,
No, they really waited because they get in trouble. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because they can't have the stuff anyway. So it's too many eyes on them for them to eat it.
dude?
Yeah.
Because Zoe actually does after he does like a lot of like plays and stuff like that.
Oh,
So he-
Yeah,
cool.
after school
Sweet.
programs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, he does like a lot
Mhm.
of school programs. He does like plays with like a whole bunch of schools, and
Mhm.
he was the one.
multi campuses.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
Multi
cool.
schools.
He
Yeah.
got me into education, and it was crazy because I was just so exhausted when I first started, and then Michael, his girlfriend at the time was like give them candy.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Michael would just bring candy, and I was like, oh my gosh. And he goes, yeah, dude. He goes, this is what I couldn't believe how well it worked.
Yeah.
Because like they literally would just be looking at a Jolly Rancher like that.
They
It
were
was
crazy.
It's
It's the
crazy
small
for
stuff.
like a little piece of candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one
Stickers.
single
And
piece.
they could come,
I couldn't believe it.
They
I'm
could
like,
come with a lunchbox or backpack full of candy and Doritos, and they will still want that
still
extra
one,
Jolly
yeah,
Yes.
Rancher.
one piece.
It doesn't
absolutely.
matter. It's like a currency.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the-
yeah.
in
Dude,
their world.
sugar as a kid, it literally turns you into Tony Montana. You're Scarface if you have like just a little bit of sugar. Like when I was a kid, do you guys remember Surge Soda?
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I made a
original
whole
energy drink.
entire
yeah.
club
Yes.
dedicated to Surge.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just me and like two other guys, and we built a fort in my basement, and we would just draw pictures of like Surge cans while like drinking Surge.
just a
That's
bunch of
hilarious.
addicts.
I think this is why it's off the market now.
yeah, yeah, I know,
Hilarious.
right? It's like
I was-
Surge and
I was
Ozzy
wondering what happened to
branding
that.
yourselves with like
Right. I got to go to a meeting after this. And check it out.
Surge.
I got to go to Surge dealer down in Orange County.
Oh my god.
But yeah, like kids, the amount that they love sugar is insane.
It's also too, ready? It's also the reason why I think that one extra Jolly Rancher means so much is especially if they did something to earn it. Like
Yeah,
I didn't
absolutely.
realize like I have what I call my wall of fame that I used in when I was in elementary.
Mhm.
But a seventh grader getting their name on the wall of fame for having it, they still go, oh yeah, and they
Oh,
love
really?
yeah, and you're
Oh.
like, oh, you're still a kid,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
meaning like they still
Yeah.
love that little thing of being able to point, and they'll take, Mister, can I take a picture
Yeah, yeah.
of it to show my
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the Jolly
Yeah.
Rancher is the same type of thing, I think.
Yeah,
That
but-
innocence.
Yeah, but also too, it also means a lot too because the school is not giving them that. They have a certain nutrition values they have to give the kids.
Yeah.
So they're not giving the kids that. So when you bring it to the class, they're like, yes, let's go, because they're not getting it at school.
Right.
School lunch
yeah.
sucks. And the snacks is an
Oh,
apple.
Oh, it's really
It's
tasty.
so
Yeah.
gross. That
Yeah.
apple crisp stuff
Yeah.
is like their dessert. You know that look.
Applesauce, yeah.
Have you seen that apple crisp thing? It's not quite pie. It looks
the
like
dried,
Yeah, dry apple.
chips.
it looks like the lunch like people who made it
Yeah.
like chewed it up and like spit it on the tray.
Uh,
Like it looks like they
that's-
baby birded
it's
it on
nasty.
the tray.
It's
It's so gross.
it's horrible.
It's
Yeah,
nasty.
yeah.
But it's interesting because like those are the good moments
Mhm.
when you make a kid happy.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that.
Oh.
But there's all those moments like as a teacher where you're like, oh, and you're like so burnt out and everything like that. How have you been able to get over that feeling, because I think there's different. I'm a little bit more of a neurotic based person, but every teacher's wired differently, obviously. But there's certain stressors within the job that I've never talked to somebody who's teaching that's not like a little like, oh, I can't keep doing this. So what do you do when you hit that thing to where it's the sucker punch and you're literally like, I can't keep doing this?
I think
What are you about,
you're
bro?
one guy.
Bro, I swear to you, dude. Yeah,
I'm what?
Half
I'm
of
like, I'm saying you're one guy.
he's
And you're
going
like,
through it.
half of our podcast when we have guests is therapy session for Matt.
Yes.
It's hilarious, dude.
What I've seen, I thought that's what the show was.
Yeah. Teacher therapy.
I thought it was the therapy lounge. That's what I thought. I just saw the-
Facts.
no, I used to be a mentor teacher for new teachers for a little bit, and
Oh, no way.
yeah, so you can give me a call. But one of the things I tell people is that I feel as a teacher you kind of have to be like a camel, or like a long distance runner. You have to let a little bit of water take you a long way. Because it's a desert out there. Like you have to let like the joys and the wins that like come, you have to like keep that in your heart for a long
Spread it.
time. Cause you might have a series where it's like, oh, this week, this month, this semester like went really good. But it's a normal thing to like have like a lot of hardship in between. And so you have to let those moments where like a third grader comes and gives you a high five, or if someone is excited about what you put on the board and you really feel that joy part, like you have to let that carry you for a while sometimes, because it's not a daily thing. I mean, you watch like something like Mr. Holland's Opus, and it's all these great moments, dude. It started from this day one till he dies. Like, so we're watching about 2 hours worth of joy.
A good 2 hour.
Yeah. So think about it. But all those victories had lots of long sessions and hardships in between. In reality,
Forgot about that movie, Mr. Holland.
and so you have. If you need constant dopamine of being happy what you're doing, then teaching's probably not a good job for you.
I don't think any job is a good job though if you need constant dopamine.
Yeah,
That's more you need to go to rehab.
a little bit. Well, like I used to be a restaurant manager for a while, and I worked in restaurants like through college and stuff, and so that's a hard job too.
Restaurant is very hard.
Very
You know
hard,
what I mean?
yeah.
And like you deal with people and stuff. And I actually feel I learned more. I use more of what I learned as a server and restaurant manager as a teacher than anything I learned getting my master's or my credential.
Oh, you have your master's.
Yeah, I have my master's.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned a lot of good things. So don't find me. But just because you're just dealing with people, but like there is a certain satisfaction. Like, hey, that was a good shift, or I had fun with the cooks. I had fun with that guest. Like there was and then when you go home, like it's all done. Doesn't matter, and it's like a reset the next day. So it was much less of like that drag that we can feel as teachers. Like it wasn't those long periods of like, oh my god.
Now,
Much easier to have like a good shift and a good time.
So basically,
speaking
you like just focus on the victories than the losses.
You have to like let those
Think
good
positive.
victories
Yeah.
like
Like
take you farther.
Yeah, like percolate. Is that the right word? Permeate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's why it's important to have like other stuff
Oh,
outside
100%.
your life. But it's also, I mean, the fact that you guys do stuff after school, that was the first thing when I went back to teaching. It was a couple of my teachers when I was a kid, like I reached out to and talked, and were like mentors to me. And the first thing they would tell me is like, you have to do stuff outside of the class with the kids.
Yeah.
You're not going to have fun inside the classroom like you did when you were a kid. It's totally different. So to have fun with the kids, not say that you can't, but normally
Like a field trip, or you mean just like go to the schoolyard?
field trips, yes, but or have the club, like teach the dance class, teach choir, do something that's where
Extracurricular.
it's just fun, because they were saying that in the classroom mostly they're dealing with so much behavior every day, all day. They're not getting to have the fun times with the kids.
Absolutely, that's true.
And so, but if you became a teacher because you want to have the fun time with the kids, you have to be open to do like the Winter Wonderland or the choir or the plays, where you get to see them just have fun as kids. You're not having to
goof off.
yeah.
Yeah, you might want to think about taking them to a play too as a field trip.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah, like
I really want to. I mean, I was going to this year. It was such a crazy year with getting credentialed and everything like that. You know,
It's such a hard time when you're doing both the double time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I got to do it for the rest of this year too. But there was one moment where the school actually asked me to take them to a play, and I didn't want to because it was a substitute that came to my class that was an actor, and he was inviting them to his play, and he was like, he's like, I'm an actor, and like came in and gave him like a spiel.
Like we all are, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then
yeah,
he was
yeah.
like, he's like, you guys need to like come see me do my thing. And then he was like, talk to that thing. And he's like, yeah, maybe we could get the teacher to take him on a Sunday. And I was like, who is this substitute's name? I go, please never put him back in. I was like, I don't want to go on my day off to see this dude
Yeah.
who's his play.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that like Broadway, because a lot of times you have that, I think it's called a CAP fund.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called? Like where they have like a certain fund for like field trips and stuff like that?
Well, that's one of them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I really wanted to take them to go see to like Pantages this
Yeah.
year because I think that they would like love that, you know.
It's
Yeah.
a bunch of plays.
Yeah.
It's a bunch.
I'm sure you could find. I would strategically pick one that first is, of course, age appropriate, and then
Of
like,
course,
and then one that
You
you
don't
think would be beneficial to the class. You know what I mean?
You don't
To-
just show up and the only thing that's showing is like Showgirls, the Broadway version.
Yeah.
It's
No,
something.
no, no.
it's
Well, I
something
guess
that-
we'll pay for this.
But that would be. I mean, it would probably it'd probably be a core memory for your kids. Some of your kids that probably
Oh,
haven't been
100%.
to a live performance
Yeah.
before like that, and then they probably would look at your class completely different. If that's what
absolutely.
you're
100%.
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
You
definitely.
know what I mean?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Have you taken your kids on field trips to that? I mean, since you said you
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
performances and
Yeah.
stuff.
We took them to like an obstacle course type of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they loved it.
That's cool.
Yeah, but
How
then also-
many kids did you take there?
Probably like 400.
400?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
And you didn't
Well,
lose
but-
one.
Yeah. No, not at all.
You're
But
like, yeah,
also-
we lost like 5.
They
but-
all had to
Yeah.
wear blue
Yeah.
bandanas.
Yeah, it's like the jumpsuit with like the chain bracelet.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, on each ankle.
But with
We're
the
all
kid,
jumping
with the
like that.
kids, like they get the whole experience. They do a whole tech
Uh-huh.
week. They get light, sound, mics on their face, and they perform in front of 2,000 people.
Oh wow.
That's
see what
so
I'm saying?
awesome.
So they
Wait, at
gonna-
the obstacle course?
Well, that's just something totally
Oh,
different.
okay,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? But during tech week, they get the whole experience of being an actor. So when they hit the stage, they get the makeup, they get costumes, all that good stuff. They're like, yo, this is fun. I want to do this every year now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it brings a lot of value. And it gives them a lot of confidence doing it in front of all those people.
You're running a really good program there, though. Like
Yeah.
the one thing that, like, I think that you guys are doing that's so awesome is the
Mhm.
classrooms have like 3 instructors or something. Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
To be able to help out with the kids.
Yeah, you're by
Dude,
yourself.
that makes such a huge difference.
It does. Because they
It
take
really
a lot of stress
does.
off you. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then your program is probably different in the sense that you probably have kids returning, like that you have.
Yeah, they just
Correct.
they might be in third grade.
Because what's the
fourth,
range
fifth,
of grades?
second to sixth grade.
Yeah, so like that like multiplies the benefit of everything that you do, because then every year you're having the best kids, the most excited kids come back,
Mhm.
and they're telling the other kids.
Absolutely.
So that's different than working with just one grade. Like, are you going to have that next year? Are you going to have people come back that have been in your class before?
Yeah, so I have
Because that could be very beneficial.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have beginning, intermediate, and advanced, and a lot of the advanced kids are coming
Oh,
back
okay.
the next year. But yeah, I will have a lot of and obviously the 6th graders come in, but I'm mostly teaching 7th grade. That's mostly who I usually end up having. But there's like 8th grade and 6th graders sprinkled in for sure.
That's cool.
So definitely the 7th graders will be back,
Mhm.
and then like a lot of the 6th graders.
Mhm,
So-
mhm.
6th graders are so. Chris and I talk about this a lot. They're so funny because they're a lot more innocent. And then you can see like the metamorphosis, like at the end of the year, they start acting like a 7th grader. I'm like, where'd you get that laser pointer and that mustache?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And then it's
It's
just
like,
like,
you look like you had your first divorce.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, he like shows
They
up to
want to look
school with,
older
like-
real fast.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
yeah, it's weird. They grow up. It's like, you okay, Rocky?
Yeah.
And he's like, I really don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But at your campus, 6th grade is the youngest grade.
6th grade. Yeah.
See, it's completely different, because then I've been on campus where 6th grade was the oldest of the grades, because I was like at a K through 6.
That's how my
So,
school is.
Yeah, so it changes.
Yeah,
That
It
seems
changes.
better.
Yeah.
I believe it was better.
It's better than 6th, 7th, and 8th because you've
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
toddlers and then like, dude, some of these 8th graders got like it looks like they got a receding hairline. Like
Yeah.
it's super like some of these
Yeah.
guys look like they like have worked in a mine for 20 years. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Well, it changes their mentality because now you're the top of the food chain or the bottom of the food chain.
uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So
And it's competition too with the older kids. 6th
Yeah.
grade with the older kids is a lot of competition. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like going to high school.
Yeah, definitely.
What
Yeah,
about your
definitely.
campus, Chris?
It's middle school, so
So
sixth,
sixth
seventh,
through-
yeah,
sixth,
sixth,
seventh,
seventh, and
and
eighth. So
Yeah.
most of the kids are really, really sweet, the 6th graders.
Mhm.
And then the last like 2 months, you can see you can see who's actually been hanging out with 7th and 8th graders.
Yeah.
And then they start
like
to,
they're more jaded.
no, they get
Cool.
into crazier stuff. So my
Right.
school has a lot of issues,
Mhm.
and so that's what I don't like is when the 6th graders are hanging out with the older kids, because then you
Mhm.
can see it. That's when you hear about the vaping, or
Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
Molotov cocktails, the crazy stuff.
Uh-huh.
Kids
You know.
love vaping. They
It's
love
the
vaping.
grossest thing.
Were they
Yeah.
smoking when we were in middle school? I'm trying to remember if
they're
kids were
doing-
smoking.
They're smoking
kid-
weed.
Alex just
Kids were smoking cigarettes when I was in school.
No, they're
yeah, they were
getting
smoking
high.
weed for sure. We
Yeah,
had
our
a
school.
we had a little
Yeah.
we had a fair that would come every year, and it was like the most white trash thing. I mean, all fairs are,
Yeah.
let's be real. But it was called Heron Fest.
okay.
And like all the carnivore workers would come with like all these rickety rides that were literally falling
Mhm.
apart, like bolts are shooting off while you're riding them.
Mhm.
But like kids would get. I remember like middle schoolers started getting high at that thing.
Well, I
you
think
know? They probably bought it from the carnivore workers.
the
but-
dangers about like vaping are like it just makes it so much easier. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And then instead of like cigarettes, I mean, of course, there's always been teenagers doing bad things like since the beginning of time. But like at least cigarettes, it's like doesn't taste good. It's like, it's like when a kid
have to
drinks a
pretend
beer.
to like it. You're
Yeah,
like,
but like
"Ooh, I love it."
cigarettes is like it's
Yeah.
like the Capri Sun of inhaling things.
I like Capri Sun.
That's the point. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like they make it like smell good or taste good, and then it's everywhere, and and like. No.
Oh, you mean vape is the Capri Sun?
Is that what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
vaping is it's like so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it,
it's
it tastes good. You know what I'm saying? They think it's healthier. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
and they think
Yeah.
it looks cool too, but really it just looks like you have a USB drive in your mouth.
You
You know what I mean? Like you're like,
Talk about that.
like
Yeah.
and I think
And
they
they-
do charge it next to their computer, which is insane. Dude,
Dude.
Jesus
Well, then you're
God.
sucking on a battery.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing ever. But
It's
yeah,
so
I
bad.
think it's definitely made it more accessible, and I think that was the pivot because smoking companies have always marketed to kids. Always remember
Well-
candy cigarettes. Dude, I used to
Yes.
have candy cigarettes and I would do that
Yes.
thing and put them in my mouth and like shoot my cap gun.
So let me ask you a question. So why
I
do you
wish they just wanted that though. That would be if they just wanted the candy. I mean, those are
Cigarettes.
bad enough. Yeah,
but that
at
was
least that is
the
just
goal
candy.
was to make
Yeah.
it,
It's gotten so bad at some schools, like school districts, like kids can't even like lean on their arm in class because they're.
You got a
hiding
vape
it.
right there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
But let me ask you a question. Why do they do it? Is it the anxiety of being in school? Is it the stress?
probably.
Is it
Okay.
the worry? Or is
The
it you think it's
fact that you're
cool?
even, it's more the cool thing. But this is what
The
this is what I don't like
anxiety.
about things. Yeah, it's like have generations where we've trained them to be the victim and have the terminology that's what they will say.
100%,
Yes.
sir.
Like they know it
Uh-huh.
has nothing to do with that,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's exactly what they'll say.
uh-huh.
They say all these things, and not to say that we don't have plenty of students that have
Yeah,
hardships,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's not why
I
they're
had
doing that.
anxiety, but Lincoln Park was my vape pen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It
Yeah.
wasn't-
I can't stand when I hear a kid
Say
say
that.
that kind of stuff and
Like, I
it's
have anxiety, dude. Me too. And you're giving
Yeah.
it to me right now.
yeah, they have all kinds of terminology that they're ready. Like
It's
they're having a great
excuses.
time just
Yep.
doing negative choices, and then as soon as they're caught, they have like this. It's like every kid is not every kid, but like there's a lot of kids that they are trained to have their big Disney moment where they say all these horrible things of why their parents are wrong and why it's okay that they're doing all these horrible things. Like I've seen so many kids break down, and it's like almost a script that they have prepared for when they get caught.
They probably got it
Wow.
from ChatGPT.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
And it's saying all these
Yeah.
horrible, right? I don't think I'm the only one. You've
No,
seen
it's
it.
100%. They also
Yeah.
know how to certain kids how to manipulate other adults.
Yes.
That you'll hear like the kid is holding learning hostage in your class, and then you listen to the adults that aren't in classrooms, and they go, he's so smart and he's actually so incredibly nice. I go, he's manipulating
Relating
yeah,
you.
being a victim. Yeah.
He's manipulating.
Playing
it.
that victim role.
The kids are so smart that they know what to insinuate, and they act like they and acting like they don't know what they're insinuating.
Yeah,
100%.
But
dude.
they're
Yeah.
that's a multi-level of manipulation. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they know that they're just sprinkling it just a little bit there.
And they believe they lie. They believe it.
So
they believe it.
Yeah, they actually believe it.
and they'll believe it.
Yeah.
They 100% will believe their lie,
Yeah.
and they do it so subtly that the parent or admin or another teacher, they think they're the investigator. Oh, I kind of read in between the lines. It's like, no, that kid knew exactly what they
yeah,
were
knows
putting
how to-
in
knows
between the
how to
lines.
Absolutely.
And that's what's so scary.
Yeah.
It's
It's
interesting
so
what you
scary.
said too
Yeah.
about the mental health thing, because it's like, dude, I read a ton of self-help books, but I do think that therapy we like society has become over therapized. Every character, it's like acting.
Yeah.
We've talked about this justifying
Yeah.
the character, and acting, you have to justify the character. Like if you're playing a villain, you don't play him as if you think you're a villain. You play it as like, well, I had the hard upbringing and blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. And it's kind of crazy giving all this like mental health awareness to kids, because now it's kind of just like nobody's really at fault.
Yeah. I think
So it's like a balance between shoving it all down and nobody's really at
don't
fault.
get me
Like,
wrong.
it's the
There-
middle.
Yeah, there's
you
tons
know?
of kids that need help. They need a counselor. They need certain things. But even sometimes those kids, they're being overly equipped with entertainment that like that's the main thing of being like that girl that is about to yell at her parents, and and it's always the parents that, I guess we were wrong when we did this to
Oh,
you, or the
God.
parents, and like they're just ready to have that breakdown moment, and it's just a game.
Yes.
It's just a game, and
Yep.
and what's sad is sometimes even those same kids really do need help, but it has nothing to do with their spiel.
Situation. With the
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just learn how to work the system to get what you want. It's a different way than some kids learn how to say please and thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how they're learning how to work the system, so to
Yeah,
speak,
yeah.
right? And then there's other kids that are going to that, like you said, next
Yeah.
level. I always say this: whenever you're talking to a kid and they're acting a little bit different, it makes you feel like, are they recording this? Like, you ever have a kid that like they
Mm.
go, when they're pushing you to the edge, but they go, Mr. Dunham, I think you're being very disrespectful right now. And
Yes.
like they take
Trying to
their
set you
voice
up.
down.
Yeah.
And you're like, am I being set up?
Yeah.
Oh
on
my
a-
gosh, dude!
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
And
and they probably are being recorded.
because
So
what they're
so what that
hoping
girl
is that
did is-
they know
Yeah.
that whatever they did is wrong.
Yeah.
So they're hoping that you go to this level so that they can, Mr. Dunham is yelling at me.
Yes.
And it's like, now it's
Set
like,
you up.
so that you don't look at the other stuff that they have, the vape pen, or the fact that
Yeah.
somebody beat somebody up.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just learning.
These kids
Mhm.
are slick.
And they
They're
know
so
Yeah.
slick.
they're growing up in a click-based society to where everything is just clips.
Yeah.
Nothing is the full story anymore.
Yeah.
Everything is just a clip. So
Yeah.
if you get like, everybody's looking for a viral moment,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
it's like kids are looking for their viral moment
Yeah.
because it's like
and because they're
that's-
seeing it all the time on TikTok,
and that's what they're
these other
inspired by.
things.
They're
Absolutely.
not watching
Yeah, yeah.
movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So their biggest accolade is doing something stupid on TikTok.
Yep.
That's sad.
And to
dude.
get a high.
But you know
Just
what's
to have a
also
high.
true too,
That
man? To that
Yeah.
point of, like you say, that TikTok moment, but in real life, that's why when a kid causes a lot of problems, you have to take away their audience. You have to take
Yeah.
that kid
Yes.
away. Like when you get it, when
Facts.
when
Yeah.
other kids see you going back and forth with another student, you've lost.
Yep.
Like you have to
Yeah.
go, hey, and be cool about it, right? And be like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go chat outside for a second, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then, hey,
100%.
You got to
right?
outsmart them.
Because if you
Or
get in
message
that,
them on their
yeah, no, go on. Go on.
Is sometimes like we have Go Guardian and where you can even message directly if they're on Chromebooks. Like, yeah, you always want to correct like privately, 100%.
You got to outsmart them.
Yeah,
You
and
have
then-
to.
and you have to be a part about being like the subtle art of not giving a F and different things is like you can't let them know that they have strings to your emotions because now they're just playing you.
Yep.
Yes.
They're positioning you like you're
Like
saying with that
Pinocchio.
example. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just laughing at you. It doesn't matter if they're acting mad, sad, or indifferent. Like they're deep down, they're laughing at what they're doing to escalate.
They want to see you crash out.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you have so it's very important that you have like you've kind of like steeled yourself that you're always going to be calm and like
Yes.
even your firmness is like very controlled because if they know that they can play with your emotions and get heated, like a coach can get away with that like a little bit, but like you can't get away with that in the classroom, like because they have to, yeah.
I snapped a couple times the first year. It's mostly in the first semester.
Every teacher's gonna have moments, so
Like
there's
yeah.
no
yeah.
judging,
And,
but
and
yeah.
the first, it was mostly in the first semester, and then the second semester, and then it was also at the end of the year. My last like crash out moment was when students they had it was in the back of the room, and this class has like probably like 38 kids in it.
Mhm,
They had a table, and they dumped bottled water all over the table,
mhm.
and then they were doing this like with the table to try to keep it from like splashing on the ground.
Oh my God.
And it was
Okay.
one of those things to where like I just like started like
Here-
shorting out.
Yeah.
You know?
What are you doing?
I mean, it's not to say that you can't talk to them, and if it's something that the
I
whole
didn't
class
talk. I
is doing,
screamed.
yeah, and I understand, and like sometimes, I mean, if anyone's in danger,
That's different.
I'm gonna like, hey,
Yeah.
we got to get collected here. Like when I've had students be disrespectful when we're having a lockdown, and I don't even know if it's a drill or not, and I'm like, we're not messing around. So I might get a little bit more of that coach volume of just being,
Yeah. Yeah.
not angry loud, but just like a firm,
Hey,
like,
like you have to
we're
get their
serious.
attention and jar their nervous
because I don't know
system.
what's happening yet, and I got to make sure you're safe. And so I even have a talk at the beginning of the year where I say those types of things. Like these are certain things. Like me, this classroom may be a lot of things, but I really take serious that I'm in charge of your safety while you're here. Whether
Mhm.
you learn or not, it's kind of up to you. I'm going to give you everything that I can while we're here, but I really take it seriously that I'm in charge of your safety because I hope my kids' teachers are wanting to keep them safe. And so, and I've had lockdowns where like it is kind of scary and like a kid's locked out and like people are doing things and it's like it's a scary thing. And so I let them know that will happen, but I also let them know when I correct them, it's like it's all not emotional. I want to be a good dad, so I correct my children. So I want to be a good teacher, so I'm gonna have to correct you when it's time. But I always keep it like chill, and then I do like what Chris said, like, hey, let's step outside for a second.
Especially the kids that love to cause problems because they're always the kids usually that aren't pushing themselves with their work ethic in class too.
Yeah.
So their idea of being something or achieving is getting to you and destroying the other things. So you have to take away their audience.
Yep.
Be
Yeah.
serious. First time, give a nice gentle warning. Second time, hey, let's go chat outside.
Yeah.
But you still got to be upbeat and smiling almost the whole time.
Yes.
That's important.
Yes.
Like,
But you have to also not bend your eyes and just smile
but
like
hey,
this.
Yeah,
hey, what's going
play
on?
It has to be
I'm joking.
sincere. You have
I'm
to
Yeah,
go big.
like
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
like what I mean by that is
It's like reverse psychology. Reverse
Hey,
psychology.
like
yeah.
saying to a kid, like, "Hey, you're not in trouble. I brought you out here because, hey, is there anything I could do to help you right now? Because we seem to be struggling in there, and you and I get along. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're really
Right?
cool.
That's a good thing. Yeah. All those
so
things.
you tell me what we can do because this is what I need from you in that classroom right now.
Yeah.
And if they're escalating from that, then dude, yelling and being nice like that just doesn't work in that situation.
Yeah.
And then that's when you have to call home or whatever.
I mean, honestly, and since we're all kind of close to the same grade level,
Yeah.
even though I'm going farther down, I feel there are the standards of different things that we are trying to teach, but I definitely feel like now is like the main thing I'm teaching is trying to teach someone to be a better person. Like you have to be.
That's number one.
That's number
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
It's number
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because if we're not doing that, they're not going to learn anything anyway. Like that. And so like anyone that wants to become a teacher or a new teacher, like you have to be okay with like, that may be the only thing you're teaching that year.
Dude, if I can do that,
100%.
I don't
Yeah.
really care
That
if
makes a
they
lot of
learn.
sense.
My ego doesn't need to be. I mean, I care if they learn in the sense that like I'd like them to learn, but like my
Yeah.
ego doesn't need to be gratified. If I could just teach them how to like somewhat act like in a social setting, I'm
Yeah.
like, I think I've done a pretty good job. That's
Yeah.
like literally the way I've like shifted my focus. We only have a few minutes left, but I would like to actually ask you the question, what is harder in your opinion? Parent or teacher? And you might not be able to answer that, like, but you know, I'm just talking about like as far as, well, I'll let you answer it, but what do you think? I was gonna say, I'm just talking about terms of like exerting energy and mental. That's what I was
It's
gonna
two
say.
different mindsets, I would think. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of apples and oranges. I mean, of course, when it's your own kids, like everything's committed to it.
Mhm.
And then like the consequences of good or bad feel 1,000 times higher, you know what I mean? And then I don't get to start over every year. So I mean, I guess being a parent is the harder one emotionally, like taxing, but like on a daily basis, I would say a teacher, because it's the grind. They're not your kids. So like emotionally, yeah, like I'm invested more as a parent in those consequences, and like, oh man, if one of my own children are struggling, or there's a wall between us, or there's any of that, way more detrimental to me. Like I feel like a bigger failure, harder, like sad, like it's harder for me to get over it, or like I'm desperate to like get it better. But my kids are cool. You know what I mean? We've had ups and downs, don't get me wrong. So I know that that's true, but like but because I'm their actual dad, I get to parent them or love them or be hard on them in the ways that I have more freedom to do that. Where being a teacher is so hard because I want to love the kids. Like I want to be like a cool uncle or like inspirational. And when they're just like kind of like spitting on it, on different things, like or like throwing their phone when I'm talking, it can be it's hard to stay positive, you know. It's hard, you know. So it can be that grind of what you're saying of like, oh, is this worth it? Is, you know, it doesn't ever go away. Like I'm 12 years in, it doesn't go away, where it's like, oh, I'm kind of burnt out right now. But then when it goes good, it's very. I had one student that he had a really rough time. I never care what a previous teacher says about a student. Like you all have, and I tell the kids, y'all have fresh slates with me, because sometimes, you know, students will be like, oh,
the poison of gossip.
He probably knows I'm a bad student. I'm always a bad student. I was like, I don't care about any of that, because sometimes it just takes the right combination, the right class. Absolutely. And I had one student. He was supposed to be my most difficult student, and the first 2 days, like he really made me laugh, and then I made him laugh. And so he even wrote like in his like daily thing, like, oh, I don't really like school, but I'm in Mr. Gray's class, so that's pretty cool. I was like, all right, I think I got him. And then he was so smart, even though he was always, I guess, not a traditionally good student. He loved to read. Like he was my best reader. And like the next year, he got accepted into like an honors English class, and it was like my biggest. And he was normally like all D's, and like, so I was like, oh, it's my Mr. Hollis opus. Now the next year, hardest year I've ever had. But like I had to let that victory be like, man, that was awesome.
Carry
like I can't have that every year, you know. But like I would think back about that one, like when I was having really hard days the following year. So so it can be very hard as a teacher, more hard. But when you get like that kind of victory, and if you guys have ever had, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like,
it's beneficial.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, that's why I became a teacher. Like I affected that kid's life in a way like that I've always hoped I would. Sure. You know what I mean? You won't have that every year. You know what I mean? But I let that kind of carry me through the hard ones. But I would say being a teacher is hard. Did I answer that? I don't know.
No, you did. Now we have
a more nuanced thing.
Yeah, we have these two questions that we've developed now that we ask every guest, like an Inside the Actor Studio. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
So I won't even tell you the second one yet. First question is, what's something that you've learned about public education?
I think that public education, you have to accept that you're working in a multi-layered, broken system. And even the people that you can get frustrated with, they probably are trying their best with the broken system that they're in.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because it's real easy to go like the school board this, the principal that, and it's like their hands are tied just like our hands are tied, just in a different way.
Yep.
And so I think it's
100.
important to acknowledge that, and because there's a lot of people trying their best, and like I want to make sure like, hey man, I want them to support me when I'm kind of up against the wall, and so it's good to like put that out for them a little bit, because it's real easy to point the fingers about the other ones.
Sure.
And so I think that's really important. I think that help when everyone like in a campus or a school or a grade level can kind of do that, then we all move forward a little bit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, that we're all kind of in this together.
We're in this together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I think there's a meme. I think I read it not too long ago. It's like, man, that's the only thing that keeping schools together is that it's a lot of people going above and beyond or supporting each other.
Yeah,
working,
man.
You know what I mean? It's not always right, but like we're trying.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it's really cool because the school that I do work at, I had so much help this year from like,
Yeah.
different people, you know, and it's like it is one of those things. We're all in this together. Like we really are.
Yeah.
You know.
And I try to build those relationships with, I always try to have strong relationships, of course, with my grade level, but then any other teachers, man, like whether it be the IT guy on campus to the custodians to the front office ladies or like the principal, it's like, man, the more that you have a relationship with everybody, the better. Like
You get
know,
your way a lot too.
Yeah, they're gonna help you when you need it, and it's like that's why. And then when they want my help, I say, "Yep, you got it."
Hey, you know what it reminds me of? Working in a restaurant, right? You're in the weeds and you're like, hey, I need these
Mhm.
Diet Cokes run to table 52. And your boy's just like, someone is like, I got you because you helped them when they're
Absolutely.
in the weeds.
Yeah,
I agree.
you got to treat that dishwasher with the same respect as your number one server. Same with you need everyone in that wheelhouse. You need all the
100%.
cogs
I agree.
like moving.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I would tell new teachers, like you need to make a relationship with everyone on this campus, like whether it be the person who cleans your room, the IT
Oh,
person
yeah,
or
yeah.
the front office
I
lady,
agree
the
with that.
nurses, like you need everybody. And
Yeah.
even if there's someone you don't think you like, or you don't have to hang out with them after school, but you got to befriend them here because
That's what
you
I
need
do.
them. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I did a good job
It's,
of that.
it's a
this year.
small things like speaking to them.
Yeah, just
Look at them
saying hi to
eyes and hello, how are you? How's your day? You know, so just
Yeah.
that goes a long way
The
with
resource
everybody.
teachers,
Yeah.
the psychologists, the
100%.
therapists, like because some
Small
teachers they can
things.
get upset. Oh, they're always pulling my kids, or they're doing this, or they never clean my room out. They never. I was like, that ain't gonna help.
No,
Just complain
dude.
about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I probably get my room cleaned like every 3 days. And at first I was like, I wonder why I didn't clean my room. But then I met him one day whenever he came in and he
Mhm.
was just really cool. And I go, hey, man, what's your name? Just chatted with him. He's like, oh, hey, dude, I sometimes I don't get a chance to clean it until every 3rd day because the school is so big. And I was like, don't worry about it. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing it at all.
Yeah,
So it's like, yeah, but I felt like that was something that would make it harder for teachers if you don't have that. Like
Oh.
as an adult, you hope that somebody either has that or doesn't.
Mhm.
And that awareness of other people and how to treat people. But that just makes your life easier if you have that awareness of like
Yeah.
how to talk to people, how
I
to treat people.
I think it's a good example of kind of like what I was saying about people that have worked other places, and you brought up the restaurant thing. Is like 100% you learn that at other places, where I think sometimes people that go right into teaching that kind of like from school, they maybe never learned that in the workplace. So while they're learning how to be a teacher, which is incredibly hard, they're learning how to function in a multi-level like workplace with all kinds of attitudes, all kinds of personalities, all kinds of jobs. And it's not always by the book, and you have to be patient about that.
100%.
You know, but man, you got to when you're nice, hey, the fact that you were nice to that guy, you still got your room clean, probably got it more. If you're mean to him or you're just reporting him, hey, this isn't getting done, guess what? Now it's every 4 days, every 5
Yes.
days.
100%. But I
Yes.
also
You
just
know?
believe you should just treat everybody kind to the best of your ability anyways. Because I think
Yeah.
people can sniff out that thing if you're trying to be like,
and we
a
all need to
smarmy.
get picked up a little bit. We're not
Yeah.
all, you're going to make a mistake. Someone's going to, you're going to mess up, and I'm going to need the support of people around me. So hopefully the people that I'm kind to or make relationships, they're going to like help me when I need help.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
And you never know what they're going through. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You never know what they're going through at home, divorce, whatever case may be. Just like the kids. You said the kids say
Mhm.
something to you. If you treat that person right, you make their day too. As grown-ups.
So true.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, you ready
So
for the
true.
last question?
Yeah.
What's something you've learned about yourself being a teacher?
Oh God.
Let's get into the weeds.
That's like, yeah.
It's a dagger.
That's a
It's a bar.
Something about myself. You know, um
You can be cocky about this too.
You
You
can be dark.
can be real.
It's like-
You can be- yeah,
it's
you're
like,
like, I'm a
unfiltered. We want this
badass.
to
You
be
know what
like
I'm
Howard
saying?
Stern.
Yeah.
For education. Just whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
And you can brag too. You know, just tell the
okay,
truth.
does that okay?
It don't have to
be
I'm glad you
happy,
said that because like
it don't have to be
I'm like
sincere.
ripping open like my heart, like,
yeah.
well, I guess I could be better at this.
Exactly.
No, you can be.
No,
you can be.
keep it real.
I'm a pretty
like,
badass
I'm good. I
basketball
learned. You know,
I
I'm doing.
think having, I mean, I'm also a musician, and so like when I bring in music or comedy into my classroom, or especially early on those first couple days, first couple weeks of school, it like changes how the kids look at me, and then like, so I think that's always important. Like, so I feel like having that advantage like instantly changes how the having a positive year with my students.
Mhm.
That's dope.
You know
That's
what I
dope.
mean?
Yeah.
And I don't tell them I do any of this stuff. Like I don't tell them that I have a band. I don't tell them that I do stand up comedy.
How have they not found out?
Sometimes they do toward the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like,
They're
and
sixth graders.
they're-
So
they're
yeah,
sixth-
they're not
eventually
really
they're
looking.
like Googling and
Yep.
stuff. But all my stuff is like clean. Like, and I'm a clean, you know, a cleanish comic anyway. So like on purpose, but I make sure even my socials are even cleaner.
Absolutely.
So there's nothing, you know, because I don't have anything negative to say, and like I don't even hardly talk about being a teacher in my stand-up stuff. Hardly. I've been getting into it, but more in like a positive sense or like a larger sense.
Mhm.
But like I think bringing like I have other talents and other things. Sometimes because sometimes I'm like the first male teacher a student has had.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so
Oh,
like,
elementary.
yeah,
That
and-
makes sense.
yeah, so
That's
you
true.
might experience that too.
What?
Like being the first male teacher a
Yeah.
student has sometimes.
Yeah.
And so it can be so like I feel like a weight of importance with that. You know, like I want to make sure like
You're
I'm
their
a
perception
positive
of
male.
Represent all men, bro.
Well, that's a little
Yeah.
too much pressure, but yeah, a little bit sometimes. You know, so you want to keep it positive. So I think being like I have a reputation like I'm like my school's like, oh, get Mr. Graves to host the awards, get Mr. Graves to host this, and so like I have a good reputation. Like I'm the talker. I'll talk in front of anybody,
Mhm.
sort of stuff at my school, and so
That's what's up, dude.
yeah.
Well, dude,
So-
this has been absolutely fantastic, man. I'm so
Absolutely.
glad that you.
Oh man, I
Good.
was so excited to
Thank
do
you.
this. Thank you
Thank you
guys.
for coming,
guys are
man.
awesome.
Yeah, and
Awesome-
you know what?
awesome guest.
The next time that we have you on,
You got to
wh-
fist bump him because it's driving my OCT insane. Yeah, just even if it's an air thing.
Okay.
Next time we have you on, I want to hear more stories from you. And
yeah.
that's I felt like that was the one thing that I was like, oh, in 12 years, just all the different stories.
Oh,
that you
dude, they
probably
gotta
have.
have so many good
Yep.
ones.
Oh, yeah.
We should have
But,
dove into that,
hey,
but it was great.
Because I know Matt usually asks this. Where can people find you on social
Yeah.
media?
So, like I said, I'm in a band. So Westbound 66 is my music band,
Nice.
Cool. What kind of
and
music?
country rock and stuff.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I saw it. I saw it.
So we
Yeah.
play like a lot of honky tonks and like,
Dude,
dance
I
places
love
and
that.
stuff
I
and
love
bars.
country.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I love country. Yes.
Sweet. We're playing at Yamava Casino in on July 2nd.
Cool.
Their lounge. But so that's my band. But then for comedy, it's James Graves Comedy on Instagram.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. Well, dude, this was a pleasure. And it's been an honor to talk to you, brother.
Yeah, you guys too,
Absolutely.
man.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
brother.
All
We
right.
out.
See you later.
Boom.